That's it. The little blue box is on to say we're live. We've come on a few minutes earlier today because Robert was waiting there in the sunshine. Today we have Patricia and Artist with us. I think Yudit's joining us. And special guest today is Robert.
Hey, thanks for having me on. How nice to see you all here.
Yeah, I
Nice
was
to
just
bring you to the beach.
jealous.
Great to
How
have you.
jealous I was because you've got sunshine and it looks warm.
Yeah.
It is. It's like 75 degrees right now, right here.
Wow.
And of course, in the sunshine, I'm picking up a lot of heat, from the sun,
Yeah.
and a lot of heat from the local sun posts that has been continually shared. A lot of people pick on me with that I'm like crazy, that I believe the sun is actually in the clouds. But on that, I don't know exactly how it works. It has the appearance that the sun is actually in the clouds. People have their explanations for how that works. Optical refraction, using a lot of fancy words. I know how to use fancy words too. I got to tighten up my tripod here. Sorry about that.
I will say this bit, that a few years ago, I think if someone had said that the sun was actually in the clouds, I'd have said no. But it just seems that way, doesn't it, Robert?
Well, I would say it's mysterious, and I have a few videos on YouTube that I've called Mysterious Sun and Mysterious Moon, because there are mysteries with the luminaries, the sun and the moon. We don't really know how far away they are and how fast they're moving. We know we can't trust NASA. We understand that. So with that in mind, what we can do is capture information, that pictures of them, and basically show that. What I'm going to do is flip this around a little bit and illustrate one of my favorite points. Basically, water exposes the global lie, whether it's the water in my jug or the water that covers the face of the earth. We have it right here. And if I take this and pan it around and just let it get real still, it will, let me see if I can just go ahead and settle that out. And it'll match the horizon every time. And what's interesting about this too is I can move this jug all around, and the water will just continually fill the container in whatever position it is. And I let it sit there for a while, and the water basically will level out. So what we're looking at right now is the tide is coming in. High tide will be around 6 o'clock or so, right around sunset. And the sun will vanish from this vantage point right about in that area over there. Right behind those buildings, actually, I believe we'll see it go away from here. And it's right up here, obviously. So the local sun, or the sun in the clouds video that I shot, was basically when I was down on the beach over there, about a mile away. And that was the vantage point for that particular shot. Now, I did not have any filtration on the camera. And when I talk about, I saw the setup occurring, what I saw were thick bands of clouds, narrow slivers of clouds, and that works ideal to illustrate that particular illusion or phenomenon. It may not actually be an illusion. It may just simply be that that's the reason it looks that way, is because that's what's happening. I don't exactly know. What I do know is that the sun and the moon move a course above the face of the earth. The technology that we have in our cell phones basically can illustrate that point. If we set a bubble level down and take a look at the bubble, will just stay right in the middle, even though supposedly the earth is moving. And I say supposedly because the only evidence or proof of the heliocentric or the global model would basically be lies. lies and deception. They're lying and I ain't buying. And a lot of us aren't anymore. We're aware of that. One of the benefits that we have is as we look at the cosmology, we've become aware that there is a grand deception that covers so much. It's not just the shape of the earth. It has to do with so many of the actual conspiracies that we've come to realize are real. And because of that, it's very unpopular with a lot of people. Largely, people believe the lie they want to believe for whatever reason, and it gets kind of complicated. We meet people often that just get angry when we bring up the reality that we're not on a globe, that we didn't go to the moon, and they get angry like it's un-American or unpatriotic or whatever. You all probably don't care much about the un-American part. I have to deal with that, but the space agencies of the world basically are working in concert together because the deception is far bigger than simply giving people fake trips to the moon and to Mars and all that. It's way beyond that. It involves the computer graphic imagery and the basically the belief of a false reality. It's not that we're living in a computer tower somewhere. What it is, though, is we're living in a computer programmed reality, in that the individuals that live in this reality, and it's real, is that they're programmed by this computer system that involves telecommunications, electrical power generation, and digital communications. Where, this is pretty amazing that I can be standing on a pier in Cherry Grove, South Carolina, and I'm communicating with people, we are, all over the world. Now, the countries that are represented here, Karen, you're in the UK, and Yudit is from Israel. Where is everybody else from now on this call?
Patricia's go on, artist.
I'm from Germany.
Very good. And Patricia, are you from the UK as well?
Yeah, I'm in the UK, yeah.
Okay. Now, in the UK, and about how far, what distances are you all from the ocean individually?
I have to check.
I'm an hour.
I'd say I'm about 30 miles away from it, roughly.
Okay. And I'm actually about 7 right now. Of course, I'm at the ocean. However, just north of the Prince Pier is basically where we live. It's about 25 feet above sea level and about 7 miles inland.
And what time is it for you? I mean, I know what time it is, but for the chat room, what time is it for you, Robert?
Well, it's around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't have a clock, and I have it on my my device. What time are you showing there?
20:57.
Okay, so we're we're 3 minutes before 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this is basically. Let me turn the camera, and I'll show you directly south from here. The pier faces directly south, and for anybody that would care to, you can go onto the Cherry Grove Resort in Cherry Grove, South Carolina, and there's a camera that you can operate on the end of the pier right underneath the flag there. So it's the area where I've done so much of the photography we call the Point in Cherry Grove, and it's down that way approximately 3 miles. miles away from here. Yeah. So one of the reasons...
I just checked, Robert. I'm 68 miles from the ocean. 68.
Okay, 68. Very good. Well, and it's actually fascinating. Now, this time of the year, this morning when I did the broadcast, it was so foggy that we could not see the end of the pier from here. We could only see about midway. And I can tell that about a half a mile out, it starts getting pretty foggy. So we may have the fog roll in yet. The water temperature is 59 degrees. As it warms up, this pier will fill up with fisher men, women, and children, and they'll be catching a lot of fish.
And they'll mind the pigeons.
Yeah.
Sorry, not pigeons, seagulls. They'll mind the seagulls.
Yeah, the seagulls. They're wonderful out here. They like to come where there's people, and people feed them. That's part of the thing that they do here. And one of the other dynamics with the way that this shows up in the summertime, and I've got more recent posts of sunrises. They're right up at the top of my my photo album. Beautiful, beautiful pictures zoomed in on the sun, just coming over the island. That's where it is. And it was on August 14th. Now we're looking at the sun appearing right in this vantage point. Look at the amount of distance from there. That's a big difference. Yeah. And that's why I say you didn't feel yourself spinning, wobbling, gyrating at the conference that was in North Carolina, because how in the world does the sun have a variance of that much where it appears? Not only that, in the summer, when the sun comes up over here, there's a day when the sun and the moon are both visible for about 12 hours each. And then what happens through the seasons, when it gets colder here, we're going to end up with hours more of the moon and hours obviously less of the sun. And the sun actually puts off a warm spectrum light, a warmer color, warmer tones. And then the moon gives off its own light as well, which is a bluish or cooler tone. One of the things that I just noticed, it was a reminder, is that when the seagulls come this direction, because the sun is up here, right down in here we'll see the shadow and the reflection and the bird when they go into that area right there.
Wow.
And I'm reasonably sure that that's going to happen. On my photo album at about 10:02 in the morning, when the sun was up over here, I've got a picture down here of the bird taking off, the shadow, the reflection, and the bird all in the same shot. So some of these things, the reason why I take the time to illustrate that and mention it is because they're actual repeatable observations that we can have, and I can actually prove them with photography. Down in the where the bird is.
How warm is it? How warm is it with you?
Right now, I would say 75 degrees on the mercury, and the sun hitting me is absolutely intense. It's warm enough that it's very comfortable. Very comfortable indeed.
You could see some people walking on the beach that were basically only had a wetsuit on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Bathing suit. Yeah.
Yeah. See, yeah, and that'll happen simply because the sun gives so much thermal transfer. So when people argue about or call me crazy that it's impossible for the sun to be in the clouds, I say it's a bit mysterious. I know the sun gives off a lot of warmth. However, I'm not buying the thermal furnace 93 million miles away. And since I don't believe that, what part of their explanation should I believe? I would simply say none of it. That works for me. The sun's warm. I like it. The pictures of the sun in the clouds are beautiful. That doesn't really expose the global lie. What exposes the global lie is there's no visible curvature on the water. Undisturbed water is flat and level, and obviously many of us are aware that when a ship appears to vanish over the horizon, I can bring them right back in, and others will as well with the P900. It's got a 83 times zoom, and from what I've heard recently, that in a short period of time, Nikon will be manufacturing and distributing a new model, a P1000, that will have 100 times zoom. And I may be getting that. I'm not sure if what else they're going to do to the camera to make it more functional, if there is that type of thing that they can do. One of the dynamics that's really a big deal, because of the haze that's on the water, the moisture, we can't see a real crisp, clear view of the buildings because of the moisture that's there. So under high magnification, it just makes it very difficult to see anyway. So in a low humidity environment, or when the temperature is really cold and there's very low humidity, then shooting up at stars and the moon, we might be able to capture some spectacular images. That would be my hope for that. As they
Robert,
yeah.
have you ever been on this pier at full moon? Because if you have a full moon, the moon also get a lot of light from a full moon. You can see. But sometimes I walk in the forest with full moon, and you can actually walk because there's enough light.
Well, exactly, and I've got images of the moon coming up out of the ocean over there at different times of the year. Now, this time of the year, we'll see the moon come up more over here. Now, I have we can see maybe you could notice the shadow of the bird there, obviously right up here, and then there's me waving at y'all there. There's my hey everybody.
Hey.
Now the mysterious moon shot that I have down the pier there, on the other side of the pier, which is 2 miles away. I was 100 feet up in the air. The temperature was about 23 degrees, and we had about 30% humidity. It was cold and crisp, and it was fascinating to see how the moon looked. And the name of the title is Mysterious Moon. It's on my YouTube channel, Eternal Perspective. And there's quite a bit of mystery with the moon. You can, rather than me try and describe it, what I would simply say, it's fascinating to see how that looked. And it wasn't just me that noticed it. It looked like it might have almost been like the craters were flexible, almost like they were breathing or something. I don't know. You can look at it if you care to. I know that several of you are on this panel have already seen it. For the people that are watching the video and haven't gone to my channel, you might enjoy it. I've picked up quite a few subscribers from my activity on this group, and I really appreciate that. I subscribe basically to everybody that subscribes to me. Basically, I want to learn from others, and I want them to learn what I've found as well. It's not just the content that I've produced. It's also the content that others have gone to great expense to produce as well. Like, for example, my photo album and my videos on YouTube and Facebook, there's thousands of hours of effort that I put into that. And as we're having this hangout right now, I'm reasonably certain that there are people liking and sharing and maybe unfriending me. That can happen too. I'm not all hung up with what other people think. I don't need to convince other people that we didn't go to the moon, we don't live on a globe, and that the Bible is true. What I do is basically
Love you, Robert.
What's that?
Love you, Robert.
Love you too. So
That's
what I
so
do is I
lovely.
make this information available, and then people can
right.
do whatever they want with it, and that's basically it. Now, I think what we're learning, so many of us, is that I'm gonna flip this around again. What so many of us are learning is that the approval of other people really doesn't affect my personal belief system, because it's not that I believe we're not on a globe. I know we're not on a globe, and there's no evidence of a visit to the moon. They're saying we can't go there now. They're making all this stuff
Hey,
up.
Robert.
They're saying that we
Robert,
can't.
you're not going in the car then.
What's that?
You're not going in the car then.
No, no. Oh, you mean the Tesla?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
That is
indeed.
about.
That's funny. All along, when they wanted to go to the moon, they all needed a big slingshot and a Tesla car. That was it.
Well, I think they're actually part of it is tragic in that it's a bit humorous that they would put that level of ridiculous deception out there, seeing who believes it, who's buying it. I know people that are buying it, and it's tragic. It's sad. So going back to what I was saying earlier, is it's not my responsibility, or I can't really directly affect what other people think, say, believe, or do. However, I can make the information available. And I understand that there are people that just get outright angry. I believe we actually expect that. I was surprised that it was going to be met with that much anger. But that's just the pre-programmed response of the computer programmed matrix of sorts that we live in. The computer programmed reality that we live in is set up so that people get angry when we do not accept the official narrative. So when the authority wants our opinion or our belief, they give it to us. Look at the reflections and shadows. Hi, ladies. Great, thank you. This is a really, I find it to be a very friendly area. And part of that is because I'm a friendly guy. I'll wave and smile, and that goes a long way. Now,
And
here's that bird that I was talking about.
You're on the beach
There was
every day.
a lot of days. Some days I don't. Here we've got the bird in the shadow, no reflection. And if any of them drift on over here into the wet sand area, then we'll get that. Yeah, it's not going to happen right now. It will. It will later on. So part of the reason why I talk about this is simply because there's the bird right now. Here he comes. There it is. I can see it. I don't know if you have been able to see it, but those are some of the actual repeatable occurrences that we can find as photographers. Okay, so I'm going to show you one of the realities with the jug. Okay, this is the way it was sitting. The sun on this side of the jug evaporated the moisture that was there. It's cooler over here, therefore that's where it condensed. Shake it around, move it, and it'll do that all day long, just like that. Now on this particular pier, it was in October. I actually have video of bulldozers running underneath the pier, right over here, right under the pier there. And it was interesting because they were moving massive amounts of sand and water. And then, of course, the water races back to seek its level. And because it was a small container, so to speak, it leveled out really fast. And then the vertical sand walls that were there, they kind of fell in, some of them. And that's just how that works. It was actually the hydrostatic pressure of the ocean pushes underneath the sand. Even though we're looking at waves coming in here, there's the massive pressure of the ocean being exerted all along the coastline here. We don't have a problem with not enough water here in the aquifers, because basically the ocean is filtered through the sand and gravel and clay and then fills up aquifers all along the coast here. We're expecting in the neighborhood of 20 million people in the Grand Strand area. That's the coastline of Southern California, or South Carolina, I should say. So I'm going to grab my P900 and I'm going to show you something over here. The gentleman in the view, we can see his shadow behind him and reflection in front of him. I'm going to snap a shot and show you up close. And I've got that with heavy equipment. One of the biblical references that I use, and like I typically say to you all, and you're familiar with it, and you keep on having me come back anyway, is I'm unapologetically biblical. Because I believe that the Bible is true as God's word, the creator of the world that we live in. And one of the evidence, there's many evidences to that. I'm going to unpack a little bit of that for you. Basically, the account in Genesis gives us the account of creation. It's wonderful to listen to, which includes the firmament, which is above the face of the earth, which protects us from all the water that's up there. That's a big deal. And then the changed life that I am. That's one of the other evidences for me personally. And one of the common responses that I have for people is, I thought I was born again until I actually was. So if you're looking at some of the snake oil salesmen, so to speak, that are on TV asking for money and they're selling stuff, I'm not that guy. That's not what I do. No. What I do is I enjoy hearing God's word, sharing it, and obeying it, rather than hacking my brain with chemicals, doing my own thing, and then trying to feel good about it. I just don't do it like that.
He's just a great guy who wants to spread the truth in all kinds of ways.
Yeah,
I like that shot that you made of the railing. That actually that guy, it looks like he was walking on the shadow of that pier.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, see, I am that guy up there. I'm a little bit close to that pole, but there aren't any seagulls up there right now. If there was, I'd need to watch out for that.
Yeah, you also pointed out that they did those benches very smartly, so you don't sit under the pole. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you know what?
I just say that Astral's joined us. Hi, Astral.
Oh yeah, hi Astral.
Hi, Astral.
People. Hello. How's things?
Greetings.
Well,
excellent.
We're on the beach with Robert, and we're jealous.
Yeah, no, looks lovely. Always.
It does.
Lovely.
People are coming, Robert. They say I'm going.
Yeah, I would love for people. We're having flat Earth meetups here right now. That's what this is, and we're doing it digitally through the internet, and that's one of the things that we can do. One of the other dynamics that I wanted to encourage us all to do is to make sure that we get at least 100 subscribers. When I started asking for subscribers, I had about 97. Now I've got close to 500. or so. And a lot of people just went right to my channel, subscribed. I subscribed back to them. One of the things that's happened, because I have a relatively easy to remember name for my channel, Eternal Perspective, I'll tell people the name of my channel when I'm actually on a telemarketing call. If somebody calls me, I typically don't just hang up if they're a telemarketer. I'll listen to what they have to say and I'll thank them typically. And then I'll say I've got a YouTube channel called Eternal Perspective. You might find it interesting.
We put
And bam.
also under this video in the description, we put a link to your channel, your YouTube.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Oh yeah.
artist.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I also will put it in the chat, the Hangout chat, so people can click on it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that makes a big difference. What I found out the dynamic of some of the copying and pasting, and of course Facebook and YouTube aren't happy with some of that activity. That's okay. I'll do it anyway. Sometimes they'll lock me out of it, being able to, but it's an effective way of communicating a lot of information professionally done. And like I say, it's not just what I produce, it's what so many others have produced. And so that's what we can do as individuals. Used to be, before the internet and social media, there would be people that would find some of this information out. And some of this information, like as researchers, we find out information that's actually a bit disturbing. And then when we want to share that with people, well, quite often they don't want to hear it. and so we can, try and explain some of it. And then what's even better is that when we have found videos like are available for us to share, then people can sit and watch it at their own convenience, without the pressure of somebody trying to change their mind. There's something really interesting about the human nature. When a person like myself is searching for the truth, that's different than all of a sudden somebody running up to me trying to tell me that my whole life is based on a lie. However, when we can say something like, hey, you know what? We don't live on a globe and we didn't go to the moon, and I understand that might sound radical. I've got evidence of that on my YouTube channel. And by the way, undisturbed water is flat and it seeks its level all over the face of the earth. I'm surprised they actually let me say that on the HBO video. Right now, the HBO release of that has, I was told today by Tom, who I talked to for 2.5 hours, wonderful gentleman that I met through one of my YouTube videos where I put my card out there. And I'll do that again. Hey, I'm excited to see you too. So what ended up happening was Tom told me that that there's about 1 million views on the HBO version, and then on the HBO, the Vice News that was on Facebook, roughly 2.2 million views. So what I've been able to do, what God is doing in and through me, is basically making the truth of His word available to the ends of the earth. Now, I'm going to flip this around and I want to show you something. That couple there is holding hands. It's a beautiful thing. When people come here to enjoy quality time on the beach, and there are millions of people spending billions of dollars. Here's the shadow reflection and man. I was looking for it on a seagull. I got it with the person. I'll go ahead and shoot him. And there he is. So I don't know if I'll post it, but it's there. Well, anyway, what I'm saying is the beach, the wet sand is reflective. However, it's not perfectly flat. We can tell that because the water keeps coming up and going back out. And when we look at the sun getting way down low on the horizon, it will expose the irregularities of the surface of the beach. And because of the nature of the sand moving in and out, it actually gets pretty flat. However, I've got pictures of this particular building right here on my photo album from the other side. When I took that picture, I actually had an interaction with 4 squad cars about a half hour after I took the picture, because it was at 2:30 in the morning, 2:30 a.m. They were just wondering what I was out with the camera in the neighborhood that time of night. Where I was way down there taking pictures of the moon. And they were friendly, had a wonderful interaction with them. It's all good. I don't get all freaked out about it. I just tell them what I'm doing, taking beautiful pictures that I'll be sharing on the internet. Here's my card. Got a YouTube channel you can check out too, and some do. I actually have subscribers on my channel that I'm their only subscriber, and I will do that. When I subscribe to a channel, if I go to a chat like the ISS live feed, where you can see bubbles in space, I put that question. I put that question on the chat. Bubbles in space? Question mark. That was enough to get me banned from the chat for about 2 days. So what I typically do now is when I go to a live NASA feed, I'll just put exposing the truth. And then I'll subscribe to some of the channels that are chatting there. And I've observed the conversation on the chat since I made that one proclamation exposing the truth. Yeah. And I subscribe to maybe 10 to 30 channels. I can do it like a video game. I can subscribe to maybe 30 channels in about 5 minutes. That conversation will change like that.
Yeah, Robert, it's almost like you have a big halo above your head now. You see that line.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah, wow. See? That's
it's
cool.
a big halo.
And the sun is on the line of the halo. Wow.
Isn't that something?
Wow, yeah.
Now I've got halos around the whole sun. It's pretty interesting. And those are on my photo album as well. They actually occur quite a bit. There's an interaction with atmospheric moisture and evidently the reflection off of the firmament and the atmosphere. So it's all pretty fascinating. I'm not all upset that I believe the lie. Now it's a bit of an adventure to see what I can observe and share with other people that are interested in this. So when I took out my tripod and I was on my motorcycle, Gabriel came and talked to me. And he's a professional photographer. And he wanted to know what kind of tripod I use. It's a carbon fiber Pro Master, and it's got a swivel head, so I can do this and level it out really quick without that seagull just splashed me a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there he is. Let me zoom this around so I can get him. There he is. No problem. You know, the old me would get upset with stuff like that. I just don't get upset about things like that anymore. But what I was going to say here too is that the things that I notice out here and I like to share, there's a lot of curiosity when I do what I do. The people that are at the cafe over there, sometimes people will just come up to me and ask me what I'm about. Now, Gabriel gave him my card. I don't know if we'll connect on Facebook and or YouTube, possibly. And see, that's part of the mystery about this. Since I'm not fundraising, it puts me in a different category where I can wear the the Bible.com shirt, like I've, let me spin this around. I can wear this into a Walmart, and I'm not soliciting, I'm not panhandling or fundraising. And any commerce that's going on out on the beach, whether it's parasailing or selling ice cream or snow cones, all that needs to be paid a certain percentage of. Well, since I'm not fundraising and I'm not asking for money, I'm not in that category of needing to be taxed for that. And I'm not, I don't have a 501c3 tax exempt status. Maybe you can see his shadow and reflection. The reflection doesn't care where the light source is. However, the shadow does. That's how that works. So in the context of that, as people are looking down, they can see their shadow. It's pretty tough to see our own reflection simply because, well, we're not in a place where it's easy to do that. However, we can see other people's reflections. So as water reflects a man's face, God's word reflects the man. How do I look? Do I look like a drug addict anymore? Well, not to me. Not to a lot of people that meet me. I'm not out here riding dirty. And like I mentioned this morning, there's what we call liquor scooters around here. They're the little mopeds that people can ride and don't need a driver's license. And that works well for the people that lost their license because of drunken driving or other reasons that can happen too. It can be pretty economical transportation, but it's also pretty cold. You know, when it's cold and humid here, it's a bit of a challenge, but people make it work. So in the context of this, as the beach, the wet sand and the water is very reflective, so are the individuals that come out here. That are, some of them are holding hands, others are holding dog leashes. We can see a couple dog walkers. There's a couple not holding hands. That happens. There's people in all different stages of life. Well, this time of year, we'll see more empty nesters. A lot of people from Canada, and then up the eastern seaboard. From I see people and meet people that are working with NASA. They work with the FBI, the NSA, DARPA, a lot of the military industrial complex and intelligence agencies. And I'm not freaked out about it. Yeah. And because I know, or I should say I believe with the utmost assurance that there's nothing that's going to happen to me that God doesn't directly cause or allow. So I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. And I used to be afraid to do all of that because I had a hidden lifestyle because I was a hypocrite. So I'm going to take a breath and let you all think about maybe something you'd like to ask me or tell me.
Yeah, I think the chat room wants to be with you on the beach, Robert.
Ah, how
Yeah,
nice.
Sure. Yeah.
Robert,
where
are the islands that you film in the morning, you know, with the pools of water? Are they over on the other corner?
Yes, basically exactly opposite of where we are right now. So I'll spin it around. And it's approximately 3 miles down there. And one of my favorite videos, it's really interesting, is Facebook videos that I ended up downloading to my computer and then uploading to YouTube. I didn't even know I could do that until recently. And it was fascinating because it shows the tidal activity. Hello. More friendly waving people.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
Indeed,
It is. It is nice. And you know, that's part of what is so different about this area too. It's not like well, what's nice is that people are having fun here. They're enjoying this. This looks like a father or grandfather and a couple of, yep, that's a father, looks like, and a couple of children around 2 years old, a mom, a dad, and some children. Yeah, see, they're of the age they wouldn't be in school anyway. And this is the time of year when we'll get a lot of homeschoolers, people that aren't connected to the summer school break, so they can visit a location like this any time of the year. This is just a very economical time to do that. So in the accommodations here, there are accommodations like this along the beach that are greatly discounted this time of year. In fact, people can stay here for a month for about what it would cost for a week or so in the summertime, depending on the units. So it's just a gorgeous place to come and connect with family. And then
Robert, you'd be great as a holiday rep for that area.
Yeah.
Well, I am. Yeah, that's one of the hats I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I'm actually inviting everybody to come here.
Yeah.
Come on. Maybe we're going to get
Come on.
20 million. We had 16 million last year. We're expecting 20 million this year. Maybe a few more because I'm out here making hopefully a favorable view of this area for people to come and visit and enjoy.
You know, Robert,
So,
what also would be
Yeah.
nice if you wrote in the sand that you could see it from those high-rise buildings, right in the sand, the Earth is flat or research flat Earth.
Oh,
Just in
yeah,
the sand.
exactly. Well,
And then
here-
everybody could see it from those tall buildings. They look at the beach. Hey, research flat Earth is written
Oh, yeah.
in the sand.
Yeah, in
Robert-
fact,
Robert
I
was
could
the-
do that. I could cut that right in the sand. I may do that
Yeah.
someday.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, one of the things that I've done is I made a cross in the sand that was about 100 feet long, and
Wow.
people would come up and talk to me about it. And then if I just have if I'm on kind of a stealth mode where I just have the camera sitting there and I'm in a beach chair, and then I'm broadcasting the Bible live, and you can watch people walking by and enjoying it, or in a rather quiet place like down at the point where the tidal activity is really special to watch because the water comes up in such a glassy, smooth manner. It's just spectacular to watch. So what I tell people is, you know, you can watch it and have anything you want to listen to. You can open up another window and listen to something else if you don't want to hear the Bible. My hope is that people would want to hear God's word because it has such an encouraging message. It's a different message than I heard at a lot of the churches that I've attended over the years, because the Bible isn't afraid of having, well, it tells it all. It tells what's really important. There was a pastor that I listened to that took 40 years to do a study of the New Testament. 40 years. Now, keep in mind, 3 people per second no longer have their human experience. They've transitioned. 3 people per second. It takes less than a day to hear the entire New Testament. I mentioned that in the Sun in the Clouds video. I mentioned not only on the HBO clip from the Flat Earth Conference, they cut me off. I said basically, we don't have toilet water flying out in people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, we don't have, it's because water is seeking its level. I'm surprised that they actually included that little sound bite. That's a big theme of all of what I do, is showing the obvious evidence that water seeks its level. It doesn't stick to a spinning tennis ball when people throw the tennis ball for their little puppies out here, and the dog spit and water and sand go flying off, and it's going a couple miles an hour. Yeah. Or I'm standing out here and I use this to add weight to my tripod. It stabilizes it. It works really good when it's in the ocean, and I have it way down low on a windy day. I actually have broadcasts that I've done when it's really windy out and big waves in that. So the water jug works really good for that.
Is that
And also-
distilled water then as well, Robert?
Well, it's a more economical way of processing than distillation. It's called reverse osmosis, carbon filtered, and then of course I like it in the sun. Reverse osmosis is the biomimicry that the industry, water treatment industry, used to mimic what seabirds do. Seagulls, pelicans, and other ocean type birds can drink salt water, and then the molecule of water goes through a semi-permeable membrane, and then they spit up the salt. So it's not just bird poop that comes out of these, it's a salt brine that they gack up too. They kind of spit it up. That's what they do. Now with distillation, there's typically electricity that's required for a lot of the modern versions of that. You can actually desalinate water with the activity of the sun. And you can YouTube videos on how to do that, basically using the process of evaporation and condensation. You just don't get very much water. The idea of what generated this was not my electricity. It was the water seeking its level. It's pumped up into a water tower, and then because it's higher than my faucet, it's going to pressurize the water. It's all the weight of the water pushing down on it, pushing it into our faucets, and depending on where it is, pumps are going to need to be used. If you're looking at a building that's really tall, there's pumping that happens as well to move the water around. Thanks for asking about the water. I'm going to have a sip of it. Now, a lot of times people are not only dehydrated, they may have a low oxygen level in their body, which is really bad, really unhealthy. Here's one of the things. This is liquid oxygen and hydrogen. It actually adds a healthy oxygen and hydrogen to the body. We need it, okay? Now, what's not in here is chlorine, hydrochloric acid, other people's prescriptions. I'm not taking any prescription medications. I don't want anybody else's. And I realize that may sound a little bit, why do I even mention that? In the public water system, they don't remove chemicals per se. They add chemicals to kill bacteria, which is important. We want that to be done. I do. And then I purify it when it gets to my house. I don't want to take a shower with water that's got a bunch of microorganisms in it. I want it killed off. However, when it gets to where I am, I take a shower and then I rinse off with the purified water, and I warm it up on the stove so it keeps the pores of my skin open. When I wring my body off like that afterwards, for a while after the shower, a couple of minutes, I'll give my arms and legs and face a deep tissue massage. My skin is very elastic, nice and tight. I use a Pro Glide Gillette shaver. The Super Bowl and celebrity endorsements means it costs me a little bit more for that shaver, but it's the best one I found. So it actually cuts the epidermis off. The dead skin gets exfoliated. What I'll do too is I utilize baking soda solution, the purified water in a glass filled with a 1/4 cup of baking soda, and then I put that purified water and baking soda in there after every shower. What that means is that those scrubbing gloves that I exfoliate with are sitting in the baking soda solution until I shower again. And the reason why that matters is because I don't want any fungus among us. I don't want any fungus on my body. So when people, maybe you've people that don't have real good personal hygiene, they can smell a bit ripe. It's rather unpleasant. That's not me. My personal hygiene is impeccable, and what I utilize is a more natural means to do it. After I've exfoliated, I've opened up the pores of the skin, rinsed off with the purified water, and then I wring the water off of my body. It keeps coming out of the skin for a while because the pores are open. It helps invigorate the circulation. We have a circulatory system that includes the heart that moves the blood around our body. And then we've got a lymphatic system that moves the water around in our body as well. It needs to get care. Some of the perspiration just comes out through the skin. Because it's a rather warm climate in the summertime, it's my radiator. And everybody else's. Mine just works really good because my skin breathes well. It absorbs the oxygen that's in the atmosphere as well also. Now what I do too, after I'm done wringing off, is I put organic coconut oil in my mouth because I've exfoliated that too. And then I'll squirt it into my hands and put it all over my body. Reason being, organic coconut oil below 76 degrees is going to be a solid. I need it warm enough so it's a liquid so I can put it on me. Now it also keeps my hair from getting brittle and burnt and cracked and split ends. As you mentioned, I got a haircut. I got one of these vacuum attachments called a Flow Bee. I can take an 1/8 inch off of my hair very precisely by using a Kirby vacuum cleaner, and it trims it with precision. It works great. So I don't have to, since I mentioned Joni is my wife and she was my hairstylist, I had to take that job over about a year ago. There was a little bit too much relational challenge with that. So now I can get a precision haircut even when she's not happy with me. Isn't that special? And that's kind of how this thing goes. You know, in relationships, there's control issues that go on.
You're funny, you are, Robert.
What's that?
I said, you're funny, you are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I never run out of material that way. I just bring it with me. And so when I look at things from an eternal perspective, what happens is I understand that out of the crucible of adversity that my life actually is in certain areas, like a lack of respect of friends and family, I have a bigger family in the family of God that's all over the face of the earth, as well as individuals that are seeking to know the truth about the world that we live in. And there's a realization that there's a massive amount of deception that's occurring in our human experience. So in the context of that, I want to help show people this world from a different perspective, one that looks beyond, one that can look through the cloud, the fog, and see past the end of the pier.
Robert, you've taken some amazing stuff, and you know that I've mirrored some of your stuff.
I do. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's very, it's fascinating to me. And now, part of what I've done more recently is I realize that this is pretty out here right now. And what has happened over the years that I've been capturing content is that I just needed to go back into my archives. I've got probably about 7 terabytes of data, which is millions and millions of photos slash video that can have photos extracted from them. So what I've chosen to do is to go back and post some of the images that I see even differently because of my perspective and what I've learned in the context of this. And part of the reviewing of my content, excuse me, is a learning of how it looks, how it sounds, and what I can put out. I want to have the horizon level, the distance is there. I want for you to see the waves breaking, and then the symmetry of the pier. As we look at the shadows now, they've been moving across. When the broadcast started, it was way over here. As the sun is setting, the shadows get longer, they move. All of this is done intentionally. Like the bird. See, I don't make the birds fly. God makes the birds fly. He puts them in the shot. He brings the people. The people that were holding their hands, do you think they woke up one day and just decided to go to Myrtle Beach? They've maybe been planning this a long time ago. I end up interacting with people that come to visit here to put the ashes of a loved one out in the ocean. And I get to share some really special moments with some of those people. I'm going to share this with you. I was down the beach over there, and I saw one of these Mylar balloons flying up in the sky, and I didn't hear a child crying. And then I saw another one, and I knew it wasn't an accident. It was a memorial. And then there were flowers that were showing up on the beach because they were commemorating the life of a loved one that died of cancer. And it was the new wife and the husband who was widowed, and the grandchildren and the children of the mother who passed on. My mother passed away 24 years ago on September 28th. It was tragic. Our middle son, Austin, was 3 weeks old. And it was so painful to know that she was nearing the end of her life. And what she told me, she said, Bobby, if the cancer doesn't get you, the treatment will. And I looked into it. She was right.
Yeah.
The treatment is designed to extract the money from the patient who has gradually depleted their money and their health, and then they remove them from the human race with an overpriced toxic treatment for cancer that's relatively ineffective at sustaining life. It's very effective at giving people a premature death. So part of this, I was encouraged by a pastor about a year ago to get back on medication. He was concerned about my belief in the flat earth and believed I was deceived. He knew I was diagnosed with bipolar. He wanted me to get back on medication. I said, Bill, Pastor Bill, I tried killing myself in 2005 when I was on Prozac and Depakote. There are a lot of school shootings, homicides, and suicides as a result of Prozac and possibly more. Well, that gentleman, unfortunately, was going through a difficult time, started taking pharmaceuticals, and then he took his life in the early part of December. How ironic is that? When I talked to him about a year ago, I said, I'm very concerned about other people getting on pharmaceuticals. I'm encouraging them to eat healthy, exercise, keep the toxins out and off of the body, because on the body goes in the body. That's part of what's going on with this.
Indeed.
And then the other thing is...
Absolutely right, Robert. Absolutely right.
Yeah, yeah. And so there are a lot of naturopaths, like chiropractors and people that are teaching alternative medicine that have been killed for telling on them. Well, I don't have the credentials of a naturopath. What I have is the credentials of somebody that survived suicide and found out enough about the world that we live in to say, hey, they're lying and I ain't buying, and I'm going to share the truth. I'm going to expose the truth. That's what I say on my YouTube channel now, and most of my posts. I'm exposing the truth, because in this sea of deception, there's a lot of information that's out there, including on the internet, that's deceptive intentionally to get people to just throw their hands up and say, I don't know what to believe. It's too hard to figure out. I would simply say what happened to me was God gave me his Holy Spirit, a desire to know the truth, a love for the truth, and then he helped me to actually find it. So what I'm finding in the life experience that God has given me, I interact with people many hours a week directly through Facebook Messenger and the telephone, and using a wireless router and internet. We're interacting right now. I've got bottomless data, so I can do this. Others may be on a wireless router, which works really good for worldwide communications that would be cost prohibitive if we had long distance phone bills of like years ago. I remember when I was I used to be a pest control guy in California. I applied a lot of chemicals on people's yards and carpets to stop them from getting infested with fleas. Well, one of my customers said, you know, we're getting a lot of phone bills from Hawaii. I can't figure it out. I said, well, look at your dog door. They had a Great Dane with a 3-foot high dog door. So there was somebody sneaking into their house when they were gone and making long distance phone calls in the 80s to Hawaii. That's what somebody was doing. Isn't that funny?
Hey, Bob,
it was probably somebody that knew the family. Yeah.
Robert, just before this message goes, Brandon Cook says, hi, Sun and Moon. Robert is amazing. I'd love to have a chat with him on the beach.
That would be awesome. I would like that too. And that's why I make my phone number available and also say Facebook Messenger as well, just to let people know if it, you know, I'm out there. I'm way out there, and I know that. That's okay. And I realize I'm an acquired taste. Some people like that. Others don't. What I was going to say, though, is if I need to block a phone number, I can. I typically block some telemarketers that I just don't want to hear from anymore. I've already, because I'm dealing with an auto dialer and it's something that I'm not interested in, but I might just unblock them if I feel like interacting with somebody like that at that time. But like Brandon is saying, he'd love to talk to me on the beach.
He said, let me go there, please.
Yeah. Now, where is Brandon from?
I think he's the UK.
Well, that's going to require some air.
He's saying, Robert, he's going, let me go there, please.
Hey, Brandon, you've got my permission and an open invitation. That's why I simply say, you know, for this area here, these meetups are happening all over the place. And what happens is the people that I've talked to out here, some of them are local and they've looked into this and they realize that what I'm talking about, that we didn't go to the moon, And that water, she's a flat. And
She's
some
a
people,
flat.
and some people can't see it. They'll still see the curve. I don't know why. I don't know
Brandon
how
comes
that
from
works.
Scotland, Robert. Brandon
that?
comes from Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah,
Wow,
and
cool.
Flat Fred says, we love you, Robert.
Hey, thank you so much. Now, I am aware that some people don't like the hangouts that I'm on. I don't, you know what? It's part of the old nature that wants to know who those people are. And yet, when I look at the likes, there's many times more likes than unlikes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
And what my philosophy about this, if you don't like a channel, watch another one.
there you go.
Very
Yeah,
simple. Don't be rude.
exactly.
Just,
Like I say,
just like a TV, change to another channel if you don't like something. And if you like, stay on.
that's right.
It's very simple.
And so, like in the video that was shared over 9,000 times, that Sun in the Clouds video, I say you can look into this if you want, or just scroll on by. And inevitably, people are still active on that. One of the reasons why I share it, I understand that many of my friends have seen the video. In fact, many of my friends came from a friend request that I sent people that liked it, loved it, or went, wow. So what I would do is in the wee hours of the morning here, I would delete a deactivated account, have my other window open with my with that video up, and I might send out 100 friend requests. And then bam, somebody drops in, and then other people try to accept my friend request and they become a follower. And that's okay. I've reduced my commenting to friends only, because when I post in the original Sphere Glow, or the original Flat Earth Sphere group, man, some of those people would come trolling on my profile, and there
Hey,
would be
Robert, can I say something else?
Oh yeah.
I think they're called Amarak. They said the horizon is eye level. Your eye level is the horizon.
Oh, what a coincidence, huh? Yeah, I do that on purpose, just so you know. Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, yeah. Now if I drop it or raise it, look at that. Just I lifted the camera, the tripod up 6 inches. It'll do that. So like when I do this, I'll just take a moment. And it'll level out. It'll level out faster like this. And one of the reasons why I wanted to give the illustration and the proclamation that water exposes the global lie. The reason why it does is water is seeking its level all over the face of the earth. The water there is coming in. And it'll happen like that all over the place. Good afternoon. And so whether it's right here on the pier, or if we spin this around, and it'll be happening up at the condos, in the luxury accommodations, in the whirlpool tubs, in the showers, all of that. So when somebody is washing their hands, having a beverage, taking a shower, I want them to be thinking about water seeking its level all over the face of the earth. And that is what it does. And people get really ill and argue about what is the force that makes that happen. You know, like I posted the video, the slow-mo guys, where they did the sponge ball spinning. It's beautiful. Yeah. And then people say, like, well, the ball doesn't have gravity. Well, you know,
I know.
Gravity is the lie that makes is the part of the deception that makes the global lie work for the individuals that really are not evidently loving the truth or looking that diligently for the answer to why that's happening. So what I simply encourage people to do is explore, to research, and seek the truth with all your heart, because your eternal soul depends on it. Now, this is what I believe is biblical, and I haven't heard this said that I can remember of, the way I'm about to say it. So I've got a couple of pieces of this that I put together. There's two families in this world: God's family, Satan's family. There's fallen angels, there's elect angels. There's God, the Holy Spirit, Satan, the demons, his children. So basically what happens is all of God's children will be born of God's Spirit. It's the essence of his Holy Spirit that takes up residence in his children. Now, the Gospel of John talks about this, and Jesus, being all-knowing, says to the scribes and Pharisees that would be instrumental in his crucifixion, this is what he says to them: "You can't hear me because you're of your father, the devil." The devil has children, God has children. When were the names of all God's children put in the Lamb's Book of Life? Before the foundation of the world. When there was the rebellion in the heavens, above the firmament, Satan wanted to basically have take over God's role in this grand creation that we get to live in. At that point, Lucifer was cast out of heaven along with 1/3 the angels, however many that is, and Satan was cast into the Garden of Eden, providing the deception that would ultimately lead to the redemption that God would provide through Jesus. It's a beautiful thing. It's hard for people to get their hands around. Here's something I want you to think about. I know that there's some that get really upset with God, if he's real, for allowing such atrocities to happen in this world. Well, what I would simply say is there are things going on that are mysterious, and we don't know how they exactly work out. One of them would be people being burned to death and being able to sing praise songs to God in the context of them being burned alive. That's not humanly possible. What's going on there? Well, I would say that God took up residence in that individual, not at that moment. It's like what happened with me over 3 years ago when I was given a new nature. So I have the memories that go way back to before I was even 2 years old. I remember a lot going way back. Well, then I know what it was like when I was a different person, when I was given a new nature, and I could now be able to say no to the sin that had me totally enslaved. How does that work? Well, I have a new nature. I'm not addicted to what used to control me. So that's the beautiful thing. That's why I'm not telling people to stop doing this or that. I'm simply saying, wow, I'm just so glad to be born again. Have you looked into this? And there's a mysterious relationship that goes on here. It's kind of like this. Faith comes by hearing God's word. The gospel, the Bible, is foolishness to those that are perishing. They don't like it. They may know why they don't like it, because they're tired of being run and pushed around by the evil, wicked people of this world that operate a greedy, controlling system that's been running them like slaves their whole life. Well, I agree with that. I'm tired of that too. And now I'm free. I'm free to do what God created me to do. So I enjoy this. This is not a burden for me. Just so you know, when I get up in the morning to do a broadcast out on the beach, I may be up 4 or 5, 6 hours before sunrise to do that because there's different things that need to happen. I don't do that every day, but like I talk about it sometimes when I'm doing my drive videos, when I'm driving in, and I'll say, you know, I like to get up to the speed limit quickly, and then I lock it in and I go the speed limit. So when I get up hours earlier than I need to be there, do you think I've got 5 minutes to go the speed limit? Absolutely. Between here and there, where I live, 7 miles away or so, I typically see several people a week getting pulled over. And it's pretty typically for about $300. Yeah, I've got something else I would rather do with that $300. So that's why I do it that way. But it's not just that. There's a tremendous amount of stress that people experience that I used to experience as a procrastinator. Now I'm just very proactive, and what I'll do basically is I'll take a very proactive approach and go ahead and do things ahead of time. For example,
we know you're very dedicated, aren't you? And you're up nearly every day doing this. So thank you very much for recording it, Robert.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Robert, it's great also
sir.
that you take your time to do certain things and enjoy it as much as possible. I also was way back when I was younger. I was a lot of stress and of doing things hasty, and at a certain amount, I had a click in my head that I thought I don't want to live like that hasty anymore, and just take everything easy and take your time. And actually, it is very good for your inner rest. And most of the time, if you do it slowly and take your time, you're finished at the same time afterward. It doesn't make a lot of difference if I drive slowly to a certain distance or drive very fast. Sometimes the difference is a couple of minutes. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I rather take things slow because it's good for my inner rest. And then for the rest.
There you go. And that is exactly what I'm wanting to illustrate, is that there's more going on than just avoiding a speeding ticket. What's going on as well is enjoying the ride. So rather than, so here's one of the ironies that happens with people around here. They're in a hurry to start their vacation. And in the process of that, getting tickets, sometimes on the way in, sometimes on the way home. They're in a hurry to get back. And what I simply encourage everybody, all of us, to do is enjoy not only the moment, but I don't need to put a but in there. Enjoy the moment, and then all the moments that add up, because there's a chemical cocktail that's released in our body when I was a stressed out procrastinator. I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
So
you can tell that you're not that guy anymore. That's very clear.
Yeah, and I used to be, you've maybe heard of a type A personality. Yeah. Yeah, I was an A. Let me flip this around. I would be one of those A plus personalities. An emphasis on the A for a-hole. I was just very intense in not a good way.
Uptight.
Oh, yeah. I needed a little more fiber in my diet. I get plenty of, a lot of people are constipated. That's actually a related health effect of hanging on to anger, of getting angry with people that have maybe done somebody wrong. Maybe they've been abused and they're really angry and bitter about it. Well, that can have health consequences. And and so there is really a direct correlation with that. So when we learn how to enjoy this life, now, as you notice, I hope, you can scroll through the video and see how the shadow is much further away. Look at how long the shadow of the pier is.
In the beginning, you could only see the railing, and now you can see the whole structure. Yeah.
Yeah. And those are... Go ahead.
Artist, you, just get that little bobblehead up of Robert. As it's Robert's hangout. Robert,
oh yeah,
obviously we showed
we showed
Robert before we came online. But just so that everybody, Artist made a Robert bobblehead.
Yeah, I will show it. Let's see. Oh, I have to press it. Just a second, Karen. Sorry for that.
That's okay. We're still looking at the lovely.
Oh yeah, I can look at that picture for hours. It's so beautiful. Here you
can see the sun.
Now,
here's the Robert Foertsch bobblehead I made. With, of course, this glass jar and this P900 in the end.
There you go. I appreciate that.
Yeah, everybody who's the regular on the Sun and Moon group, I will make a bobblehead like that for them. And I actually cut out the glass he had on his profile, the picture, on his Facebook channel. I found a picture of that bottle and I cut it out and put it in his hand, so I get the exact same bottle over here.
Well done.
Oh, thank you, Robert.
So, oh, you're welcome. One of the things I would like to draw your attention to, the low spot right there is the wet spot. See that? And that's largely how the water works. As we get closer to the pier here, then it's a bit higher on both sides because of the way that the water moves the sand. And when I showed the renourishment that occurred out here, there were ships that were vacuuming up sand from the bottom of the ocean and then pumping it up onto the beach in the quantity of a mixture of 40% sand, 60% water, and it would be roughly 1,500 dump truck loads in less than an hour. And then they would move them around with bulldozers. And they did it for a few weeks, 24/7. And what it did was added quite a bit of height to the beach over here. The beach got eroded drastically from Hurricane Matthew that moved a lot of the sand out to the ocean and all around. And then that makes the structures along the coastline very vulnerable and makes for not as pleasant of a beach for people to vacation on. So with the kind of quantity of visitors, when we're talking 20 million people to visit, that's billions with a B, thousands of millions of dollars. That's why we can do that. It's less than a cup of coffee for the people that visit, but it's actually coming out of the federal government, which is basically, they just pull money out of thin air and basically cause the value of the purchasing power of all the existing dollars to be less. That's what NASA does. That's what our military does. That's what our social programs do. But it's hard for people to consider that. That's part of the system that we have as a country that has the world reserve currency. When we spend our money like through all those aforementioned means and more, basically in slaving humanity with the biggest Ponzi scheme ever perpetrated on humanity, the world reserve currency, or the petrodollar as it's called. And our military is one of the forces that's used to enforce that enslavement. So at first, when I found out about all this, I was a little embarrassed to be an American because of that activity. And then what happened was I realized, hey, wait a minute. It's not just our government. The crown is involved. the people across the pond, the Rothschilds and more. It's basically the world government. It's the shadow government basically moving the strings of all the puppets. So it's not just our government, it's all of them. It's most all of them. So they're involved in one manner or another. And that's just the way that it is.
Yeah,
and
you're right about that one, Robert.
Yeah. So I don't think I really leave anybody out in exposing the truth. I think I pretty much cover all of it. Now, if somebody has other conspiracies or issues that you would like me to research, by all means, contact me privately if you like, because I typically won't allow a link to just go on to one of my comments on Facebook, because I want to evaluate the information before I go public with it. It makes sense, doesn't it? That was my obvious. I need a yes answer out there.
For sure.
Yes, so I can get my microphone not kicking up. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't get the mute. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and because part of the dynamic with social media is that sometimes people want to take over. They want to protect humanity from me, little old me, telling the truth about all of this stuff. And so they'll post a link on my post like creation.com that's telling us how the flat earthers are crazy. And I'm saying, wait a minute. The flat earth is biblical. You're promoting a godless cosmic Big Bang, whether you realize it or not. So that's why I'm not all a fan of organized religion and ministries, because a lot of them are co-opted. They've been taken over and they don't know it. They may think they're doing the right thing, but they're not. They're a part of the grand deception. And so was I. When we homeschooled our children, I posted that video, Flat Earth and Beyond Satan, I believe it was called, by my friend Thu Long, and I did a video on it. Basically, it works like this. I was promoting the deception and didn't know it, because we homeschooled our children, teaching them the global lie, and actually showing them Bill Nye the Science Guy. I've got hundreds of hours of Bill Nye on videotapes. Oh, well. I found him humorous. What we told our sons is, we didn't come from monkeys. Don't pay any attention to the coming from monkeys, and you'll learn a lot. Well, I didn't know it was bigger than that. The global lie is actually the foundation that the rotten tree that birthed the rotten fruit came out of Darwinism, out of the godless cosmic Big Bang, is where all that came from. So that's, they say we've been around billions of years. I'm not buying it.
That's a great way of putting it, Robert.
Thank you. Well, you know, there's a lot of what I say is a compilation of what other people have said too. So it's not, a lot of this stuff I've heard from really wonderful documentarians, you know, people that have produced these documentaries that expose this. And that's part of what we can all do is when we like a video that exposes that, it can be shared to others. So that's part of the power of the social media and the communication system that puts some of the ability of the people to tell the people the truth, to put it back into our hands, so we can share this with our friends and people that we meet randomly. Yeah, kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
So here we've got the sun, of course, setting.
Yeah, it's moved quite a lot across the sky since you've been talking.
Sure.
Oh yeah, and
that's
that's
a nice reflection on the beach.
Oh yeah,
right now.
Now, so if I take, and I will, what I'm going to do is move a little bit and just show you what happens. See, there we can see the high spot right there.
Yeah.
And now it's filling that in. That's part of what the sun does, is it's like a laser beam shooting across the surface of the Earth that allows us to see irregularities like that.
Yeah. Great shot, indeed.
Thank you. So one of the things that I've done on my YouTube channel is featured videos that channels that run 24/7 that show the beauty of creation in 4K video from all over the world, including aerial platforms, aerial like as in drones or aircraft, showing gorgeous scenery from all over. I think it's a nice thing to be able to do, is to share that. And what I've used is what's called a Google Chromecast. They're less than $50. And what it does is it connects my router to my television with an HDMI cord. And it's all included, or it plugs right into the HDMI outlet. So it's very effective. What I'll do is I'll put on my liked video playlist or whatever playlist I want, and it'll show the beauty of this for days. It'll just keep on running. So what I can do here, and I will, is give us a little different perspective of this.
I myself, I can watch the beauty of nature hours and hours.
Oh yeah. And that's one of the things, I'm glad to hear that. That's one of the things that preceded my awareness of this deception, is that I was spending a lot of time at the beach, blowing bubbles on the beach and telling people about Jesus, and wearing the Bible.com shirt. And with all the time on the beach, I just, it's not only that it was therapeutic and relaxing, it's what I wasn't watching also. So it wasn't either or, it was a combination of reducing the toxic input of the programming from television and the mainstream media, and it was getting the fresh air, sunshine, interaction with other people, and really enjoying that. It was a multifaceted combination.
Yeah.
And so our lives are, I don't know what I just did here. There we go. So our lives have a lot of variables that we can add to them. And some of those variables we have control over, and some of them we have less control over.
Yeah.
So in the context of
that's what makes life interesting. Huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know, the theoretical physicists that are meandering off into ideas and philosophies that don't reflect reality talk about multiverses and multiple universes and all of that. What I would simply say is that I don't buy that. But what I will say is that we have choices, and I encourage people to make the best choice for them, and as well as the others that are related to them. So I'm going to break this down real quick. In the context of the truth movements, there's a spiritual smorgasbord where people are sometimes taking a little of this and a little of that, And I just have, like I say, unapologetically a biblical perspective. That's what I bring to this discussion of the truth movements. In the context of this, one of the very powerful statements of Scripture located in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says, they refused to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. So God himself is going, as a consequence of the insincere investigator, he's going to cause them to believe largely the lie they want to believe, as best I can tell. So with that in mind, a love for the truth is, I believe, a gift from God. The fact that you people are listening to what I have to say, knowing that I was going to be here, and you're here anyway, there's some interest in the content that I'm bringing, and I really appreciate that. And I understand that people come and go, and the beauty of having the digital work that I've compiled and others have as well is that we can have a digital representation of what we believe is important for people to look at and consider. In the context of that, just for little old me, I was viewed over 4 million times, content that I'm in or produced, and then other people share that content, and I continue to create more of that content that they created as well. So it's not just that I got viewed that amount of times. The people that are really getting angry and whatnot, saying things about me on these posts, a lot of times I'll laugh at the hecklers and those calling us as flat earthers stupid or crazy. A lot of times I'll respond by laughing or going, wow, I can't believe you said that. Wow, I'm glad you said that. So the wow can work for, wow, that's amazing, or wow, that is really stupid. That's really not true. And oh well. And then there's the laughing. I want to show you that. That's me not caring that you think I'm crazy. So don't laugh at them. I'll just give them a big laugh. So that's one of the reasons why I want to talk to people is because I actually really enjoy this life in the context of a lot of things going on that are not quite the way I would like them to be, but I'll work with it anyhow. See, we've got some seagulls fishing up there. Oh, yeah.
It is great that the sun, if we wait a little longer, it will disappear a little bit behind those high-rise buildings.
Yeah, it'll be right over here, I believe. What time? Since my phone is being,
it's
I don't have my.
5:30. It's you're 5 hours. 2:30. So it's 5:30 then.
5:30. So in about a little less than a half hour, the sun is going to vanish from this vantage point. Now, I can see a layer of fog that's obscuring the bottoms of all the buildings over there. Yeah, the ones closest to us, I can see the bottom of the building pretty good over there. But as it moves out over into that area, not at all. I can just barely see the tops of the buildings. Yeah. And that's part of what I want to compile and show people is with the broadcasts that I've done recently here, the bottom of the building we could barely see, and then we could see the sun hitting the top of the building as it was shooting across the fog, the marine layer. And those are some of the repeatable occurrences. It's not that we're stupid, because we're not. Some people might be eccentric. I've been called worse than eccentric. That's okay. I don't mind. Like I say, I'm an acquired taste.
It's just their view on you, and that's not actually what you are. That's only the view of the people who see that in that way.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
was it 7 terabyte of photographs and videos of the sun and the moon?
Yeah.
Can I say
And the
something?
beach and the people enjoying it. That's millions and millions of images showing. Like there was a gentleman on one of the videos that said, "I'm not going to go even near your channel unless you can give me a compelling reason to do so of your flat Earth model." I said, "Well, it's reality.
Astral,
Deal with."
what did you want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was on the when I sent my YouTube channel to the flat Earth globe discussion. There's a few of them. This one is got about 10,000 members, and Nathan Thompson I met at the conference, and he has in his group nearly 100,000 people now, and he's pretty vocal, and he'll go and talk to a lot of people about this, which has given his
can I interrupt you,
effort to.
Robert?
What's that?
Can I interrupt you?
Sure, go ahead.
It's because earlier you was talking about like, yeah, of course you was at the conference and what have you, and it seems that a lot of people are doing videos or they're doing small, like this, hangouts and what have you, Some of them do go on for 5, 6, 7, even more hours. How about we should actually do some sort of online conference, Flat Earth online conference, because that way we can arrange it quickly, do it quickly, no one needs to travel, and, hey, it's like, it's right there, isn't it? That's a good idea,
Exactly.
I think.
Yeah, and I totally agree. One of the dynamics with that too is that with the being able to go live like this, there can be multiple streams where we're showing what it looks like from that vantage point.
Yes.
So like in California, they're looking at a few more hours of daylight than we're going to have here. That's pretty much how that works. You saw how I moved the lens of the camera probably 50 feet, and how that changed how much reflection we see here. Big difference. Now, when I took my camera roughly 1,100 miles northwest, there was a substantially longer amount of daylight. And I remember working on a farm in Wisconsin, seeing the sun come up where it did in the summertime, and I remember all of or so much of how that worked, how the sun appeared and vanished at different points on the horizon based on the season. So what we could do is have people that go live and do that with the YouTube feature, because live mobile with YouTube, because I can go more than 12 hours of live broadcast with YouTube, and Facebook, it cuts me off at 4 hours. I believe that's the limit. So if we were to have a group of people that take different areas and just show this is where the sun is now and the moon and so forth, what it looks like, I think that would be kind of interesting, especially coastal regions. I would like to see what the California coast looks like.
Do you know what would be good, Robert? Robert, a traveling one. A traveling one. You're traveling with the camera.
Oh yeah.
To the next destination. Meet up.
Exactly.
Next destination. Meet up.
Well, and when I went to visit our sons in for Father's Day, I visited my dad, who passed away in August on the 19th, right before the what they were calling the eclipse. I don't know what went in front of the sun, but I'm not buying the official NASA story. I mentioned that even on a live hangout we did before that. But when I went from here to there, I actually did a live broadcast for much of the traveling time. And then for some of it, I talked, and others, I just broadcast the Bible Live. It's in my archives of the of my Facebook videos. That was before I had my 100 subscribers to go live on YouTube. So when the heavy equipment was out here doing the beach renourishment, the first day that I broadcast out here, I broadcast for 23 hours. Well, I didn't. It didn't take. It didn't make it up there. Well, then I got up and I did it again. But I got like I think the longest broadcast I have right now is 11 hours and 55 minutes. I don't know if I can go beyond 12 hours. See, if I go to 12 hours and 1 minute and it kicks the whole thing out, that's pretty tough to handle. So what I just do, 12 hours is a pretty long run of it. Some days when I've been out at the point, like to show the sun and the moon for that duration of rising and setting, I might be out on the sand. I've done it for more than 19 hours down there, and for here, more than a day. And it's what'll end up happening is I've got a chair that reclines. It's a beach chair, and I'll actually be able to take a nap when I'm doing that. So it's not like I'm running without adequate sleep. No, I've got my my smoothie, and that's got the nourishment. Did I give you all my recipe of my smoothie this time?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay, so what I use is the Ninja. Yeah, I take the Ninja, which spins at over 3,700 RPM, and it slices and chops it up and pulverizes it. When I bring my raw vegetables home, my fresh raw vegetables, I put them in the freezer and let them get to about 20 degrees below zero. And then when I pulverize them, it turns them into a green powder, the spinach, kale, chia seed. And then when I add the prunes and the raisins and the craisins, I add the apple cider vinegar, about a half a gallon of that, to a mixture that's going to be about 5 gallons worth. And then as I put that all together, I'll include mixed berries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries. I get those frozen because they're a fraction of the cost, and it's a good way of doing it. And then I'll add the highly purified solar charged water, and as well as fruit juices and applesauce, apple cider, grape juice, all of that. And I have no desire for alcohol. I used to drink vodka for breakfast. I sure am glad that's over with. That's been a while. Yeah, look at how the water's coming in. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, sure.
You know, so what I just really enjoy this. What people, maybe you've heard this, I had a gut feeling. Well, the gut is the area in the body that processes healthy nutrients and turns them into nutrition for our physiology and generates the neurotransmitters, the endorphins, the dopamine, all of that the brain operates on. And it's not just the head, it's the emotions that are processed in the brain. It means I'm looking at this information and I can make a choice that's based in what I believe is reality. Like, I'm not all freaked out. I enjoy the life God gave me to live, to be able to do this and share it with you all. So that's part of the dynamic. So the coconut oil, I mix about 8 ounces in my coffee, and I emulsify it. And I make my coffee about a half a gallon every 2 days, put it in a thermos, and it's made with the beans I get from Costco. It's a Starbucks roast, and it's pretty inexpensive. You know, it's the coffee I drink is like a gourmet coffee that's highly nutrient dense. It's got the coconut oil is very nutritious for the brain. So my diet, although I'll still have what some would consider some regular food, I prefer really healthy nutrition. That's what I favor. So I rarely have sweets. I just don't have the appetite for the processed sugar. However, I enjoy the natural sweets that are in like the apple juice and the mixed berries, all pretty healthy stuff. And I leave I don't juice them, I just liquefy it. So no matter how healthy the nutrients are I put in my mouth, if my body can't assimilate them, it's not going to really benefit me much. So when I joke about if I see somebody with a really a scowl on their face, like they're looking pretty grumpy, and I'll say, "Wow," you know, like if somebody is next to me, I'll say, "Man, they look like they could use a little more fiber in their diet." Or I'll joke with the person that wrote a paragraph of how ridiculous I was, and I just said, "Wow, you know what? I hope you're born again. And by the way, I think you could use a little more fiber in your diet." And then I add a hearty laugh and move on. Right up here, we've got what looks like a heavy aircraft, one that could move like heavy equipment. Looks like a military aircraft. It's kind of interesting. They're exhibiting aerodynamics differently than the seagull that just landed up there. It's not an anti-gravity device. It's what it does is there is no force as gravity as we're told. Basically, what we have is the difference of density and mass, and heavier than falls, lighter than floats. It's just what it does. Yeah, we've got several military bases here on the East Coast. So quite often I'll see helicopters and big aircraft, and I'll take pictures of them and post some of them. It's a bit of an example that's not the weapons of the warfare that we're in. The warfare that we're in, basically the most powerful weapon is the truth, and that's what I'm all about. Sharing the truth to the ends of the earth around the clock, live, and then the digital me, the representation of what I've put on my YouTube channel, other content producers have provided. It was really interesting. I'm typically at my friend limit, which means that it's tough for people to connect with me as a friend. And ODD, Matt Prosella, and I recently connected. I came home one day and it was kind of a tough day. I was getting beat up pretty bad on a post, and I saw, hey, there's ODD, Matt Prosella. He did a whole bunch of excellent flat Earth work. Are you familiar with his videos? ODD TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he did a great job.
He's got a great voice.
Oh yeah. So it was kind of interesting to see him there. It really, I thought it was special. I've been sharing his content for a while now, and it was funny. The other day I got a phone call from Mark Sargent. We talked for probably 45 minutes, and I really enjoyed that. There are people that have different beliefs about individuals that are in the flat Earth movement and truth movements, and some say that this or that person is a troll or a shill or controlled opposition. It's one of those things where it's really beyond what I am able to know. Ultimately, I want to help people to understand the truth that this world that we live in is created by a God who provides the redemption that we need, and to experience heaven. And what Scripture talks about is the down payment on that heaven is right now, is the Holy Spirit. That's the down payment. I've received the down payment. And if God sovereignly sees fit for me to transition while I'm on a live broadcast, I'm good to go. So I'm not afraid, and that makes me somewhat of a dangerous man. I'm gonna leave this camera here and grab my
it's
camera.
definitely going down. Well, it's not going down, is it? But it's definitely leaving, or whatever it is, leaving your perspective.
It is. Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my camera and I'm going to zoom in on some things and show you what it looks like. I'll be right back.
Robert's left us on the pier.
I was going to say something before when he said he was talking to Mark Sargent for 45 minutes. Was it him talking for 45 minutes, or was it both of them?
Oh,
I love Robert.
it's an amazing picture, isn't it? That.
So one of the I should have found out if you were talking, but here I am again. What's happening here is really kind of interesting, and I'll show you what it is. In some of the mysterious sunrise videos, it looks like the buildings are out over the ocean. Now this right here, yeah, isn't that something? So you're looking at the sun in the reflection, and you're looking at the sun hitting the buildings.
I was going to say that.
Pretty cool. How interesting, isn't that? What a coincidence. First time I've ever seen it. Just kidding. Yeah, isn't that a mind trip? So that's what's going on here. And then I'll flip this around and show you what it looks like over here.
Right.
There's my rear view mirror still working. And yeah, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
So those people are miles away. Yeah, you can't even see them, can you? Okay, and so let me, I'm going to need to do this a little different. There we go.
Amazing colors.
One of the people that I've subscribed to gets some really fascinating sunset shots over the ocean. I'm not sure where she's from. It looks like the Pacific, maybe California or Hawaii.
Did you already see that Yudit was here? Hi, Yudit.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Yudit.
Hey,
Greetings,
Shalom.
Yudit. Shalom.
Hi, Robin. Hi, Astral, Patricia,
Hello, my darling.
Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hello, my darling. We're watching the sunset with Robert.
Yeah, I love it, Robert. I love your videos. Incredible
Oh, thank you.
sunset. Incredible. Wow.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Beautiful.
Yeah, see
And in a
we've
few
got a little.
hours' time,
What's that?
the sun will be coming up in Israel. Well, more than a few hours, probably up as 12. How many hours? About 5 hours, Yudit?
Yes, now it's late a little bit. It's almost 5:30 sunset. It's changed 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was corner to 5. And now it's already 5:30 sunset. And the sun changed a little bit the, the point of the sunset. The yeah, it's not in the same place. It's changed the,
It's always on the move, the sun.
yeah,
It is. It is.
yeah.
That's an amazing picture. I like that.
Yeah, you could sell that as an holiday card anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, Robert, I buy today a bottle, a small bottle, not like yours, but I find a nice bottle today.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah,
good. Good deal.
Where
Yeah,
did
what
you get your bottle from, Robert?
what I found out, it was like a health food section of a grocery store, and the food that was in there was organic apple cider. That's
Uh-huh.
that's the product that normally does that. So what I'm going to do here, I've only got a very short time to go with this. I'm going to shut my donut hole for a while, and then I'm going to record this, and you can see me record it, okay? So I won't be answering any questions for a moment or talking.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
But you all can talk all you want.
Wow.
Oh, I'm learning how to do this. It's great. I'm going to do this in live video. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, you can see the clouds appearing a little bit before the sun.
Yeah, you see the chemtrails.
It's amazing colours.
Wow. Indeed. Nature is very, very beautiful.
Whoa, look at that.
No sunspot. I don't see the sunspot.
Yeah, that's right, you did. Also.
Robert's been filming those. Robert in Kidna in Mexico. They've gone.
Yeah, they're gone. They're gone. I wonder if there is a connection
Yeah.
between the sunspot and what's happening in Mexico.
Hmm. The sun has changed colour now. It's lost its glare, hasn't it? Whoa.
Yeah, nature is so beautiful to look at. I encourage everybody to always get outside every day and get in touch with nature and just see the beauty of
Yes, Astral. Yes, artist. Yes.
The sun's gone to lava lamp-like now.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I'm actually going to do some stills now, and what happens with this camera and video versus stills, there's some kind of a different process as far as how the images look. So it's quite a bit different, and I've got to learn how to extract the individual frames out of my video. I don't know quite how to do it yet, and I'm about to go live, or I'm going to zoom in again and show you what's going on there, because you can't see it from here. Like, I want to show it to you.
Oh, that's great. You have a pretty steady hand, Robert. For sure.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a pretty big challenge.
Yeah, I know. It's very hard to get it.
Yes,
I'm
it's
now
heavy.
making him laugh, so it's even harder now.
It's heavy. It's difficult.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's okay. That was my fault.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, and nature is so excited that you can't stay, calm.
So what I'll do typically when I'll use my left eye as my shooter and my right eye as my spotter when I'm doing action shots and things of that nature, and that helps me to zoom in on the birds, on the pelicans. Wow, it's just about gone. She's a gone now. And what's interesting about that too is if I was, let's see, I'm looking for the reflection. Some of the, I would be able to see it if I was up in the parking ramp right there. That's where I was for the eclipse. I would get a little bit of it, I think, but I'm not exactly sure because the location that it's vanishing from is it's dropping into some clouds right now as well.
It's beautiful because it's like a rainbow on its head. You can see red, orange,
Oh yeah.
yellow, green, purple, blue, everything. Indigo.
So what I'll do is just show you a little bit of how it looks all around.
I have a question for you, Robert.
Yes, go ahead, Yudit.
Yeah, I see many videos, and in many places, the ocean a little bit gone, disappeared.
Oh,
Do you
you mean when the tide goes out?
something happened? I don't know. So the beach, a few meter, I don't know how many meter, disappeared, gone.
Well, we have about a 4 to 7 foot tidal activity here. Is that what you're referring to? Is the when the water goes out further? I want to answer your question, but I don't
Yeah.
think I know.
Do you see any change? Maybe the ocean become more higher or is gone far away?
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
what has happened here is this area right here. They brought in thousands and thousands of yards of sand. So the ocean doesn't come in as far as it used to. We've got about I would say an extra 100 feet of quite a bit higher sand. They brought in probably 100 feet wide and probably about 10 feet high is what they did, because this beach, the ocean would go way much further up, almost all the way to the edge of the buildings there.
Oh,
That's why
wow.
they that's
Wow.
why they brought in the emergency sand placement. And
Uh-huh.
now in this upcoming fall, we're anticipating our our regular beach renourishment, which happens about every 10 years. I'm looking at it looks like dolphins right in the middle of the shot, right
Oh,
out there.
lucky you, lucky
Yeah,
you.
I can see them. So
Can you
what I'm going to
zoom?
do is see if
Can
I can zoom in on them and show you.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
With that,
On the broadcast that I did Sunday morning, I've got a couple of shots of a dolphin that was in the coastal preserve. Very, very interesting in there to see a dolphin in there. He was coming in during the high tide. Very interesting.
The water are warm. What is the temperature of the water?
The temperature of the water right now is about 59 degrees, and the temperature of the air, the atmosphere dropped probably down to 65. We probably lost 10 degrees since the sun went down. And I'm going to need to end my part of the participation in the broadcast simply because they're closing the pier. What time do you have right now, Karen?
It's just gone 6 o'clock for you. Can I just ask Robert in the chat? Luke Marshall in the chat room would like to know which beach you're at.
I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and it's the very north end of South Carolina. It's called North Myrtle Beach or Cherry Grove. So that's the location here. Yeah. I'll tell you what I want to do is thank you all for having me on the broadcast today or on the Google Hangout. I really do appreciate the public and private support. So many of you have been very encouraging to me, and I really appreciate that. So thanks so much for having me. Big flat earth hugs.
Thank you, Robert, thank you for a really beautiful setting, everything, and big flat earth hugs to you. Thanks for being here, Robert.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, we'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Robert.
For you, it was 6 o'clock for him, and it is for me. It's 12 o'clock, and for Karen, it's probably 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Do we want to talk a little bit longer? Amazing beach, isn't it? Amazing footage watching the sun go down.
For sure. Amazing. And also an amazing mind he has with a lot of knowledge that he can actually tell about. And I like his way he talks. I like people when they talk at a relaxed pace. So I always enjoy it very much when Robert Foertsch is on the Hangout. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's a nice person as well.
Oh yeah,
he's one of my first flat Earth frienders as well. He's like, he's one of my first friends.
And what a great friend to have.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and he likes coming on Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
Astral, how are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Great. How is your project with the glass and?
I haven't done anything yet. I'm actually thinking about something here that could help. Well, it's to do with sunrises, where sunsets occur. You know, sunrise and sunset. I'm just looking at my phone now and seeing that the sun's going to come up for me tomorrow morning at 7:32. Oh, that was today, 7:32. I was just playing around with that thought that it could be nice to have a city or a town, a time, and using one of these, or use your phone. There's a compass sometimes on your phone to see what direction the sun is setting, you know. Would be good. Yeah.
What do you mean? We all do it. We do it.
Yeah. Exactly. I'll write in the chat now. Right. Exactly. If someone does this, if some people can do this now in the chat, it will be great because I can jot it all down as soon as I can, and then I can start to like work with it, you know. But I want it just like this, so I can find the place and what time the sun is coming up at. So just like this. I wrote that in the chat, and if people could do that wherever they are, or the city that they're closest to are, whatever, you know, where they can see what time the sun's coming up, it will be good. It will be very good.
Astral, I make live videos sunrise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wants the time.
I want the place and time because I'm trying to make a model of something.
It's live. You have the time.
Yeah. But tomorrow when the sun comes up, what time is the sun to come up in these different places? You know.
What you mean? You want that actual time that they see it, or you want it from time of day?
I'm going off the weather app on my phone now, and I can see. Yeah, this was today, I presume. The sun came up at 7:32. The sun came up in Crete at 7:01, and in Jamaica it came up at 6:30. That's just 3 examples, like, you know. But it would be nice to have a wide, you know, spectrum of these places and times to work with.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So people, get your phones out now and look on your weather app and see what time the sun came up where you are this morning, and just write down the town, whatever, and the time the sun came up, and then that'll be easy to map out, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
I'm doing it now. Where do you want me to send it to?
No, just put it in the chat. I'm just going to jot some down now. I'll do like 20 or 30 or so, I'm hoping. Come on, people. Have a look. See what time the sun came up where you are, you know. But like I'm saying, another good thing would be to have a compass, and where did the sun go down? It went over that direction, say, you know, and then find out where it went down. Did it go down 273 degrees west or east or whatever, you know? Could be fun.
I've done one for you.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. But we were talking about this also another time previously, where we were on about the moon, that we would do some sort of moon, tracking, you know, from different cities to have well, I know Stan Smith's doing a lot of stuff together with Z-Proxy and some other guys, you know. But I think if we were more people doing also other kinds of, you know, experiments or tests or, this small kind of thing, then it's going to help us. Definitely. I'm just writing some down here now. Can't go too fast. Thank you, people. Always helpful.
Yeah, thanks for.
Yeah. Thank you, chat room. Shall I say hello to a few people? There's Dana Drummond. Oh, Artist, you're good at doing this. You say hello to the people in the chat room.
Okay. Oh, thank you for.
Oh, you're good at it.
Okay, here we go. Hello, Mia Investigator Wonsima. Hello, Danny Orisa. Hello, Harsh Engineer. Hello,
I love it. I love it.
Hello, Steve Brodsky. Hello, Flat Earth Dude. Hello, Leslie Beckwith. Hello, Sun and Moon Group Family United. Yeah, we also.
Yay!
Hello, Harsh Truth Engineer. Hello, Spherical Cow. Hello, Ona Play. Hello, let's see, Daniel Riza. Hello, Tommy Rogers, for sure. Hello, the Astral Thief. He's also in the chat and
hello
in the hangout. Yay! Hello, Flat Earth Dude. Hello, you. Hello, Mandela Reflex. Cool name. Hello, Alternate. Hello, Midnight Gardener. Let's see. We have more. Hello, Baron Bronskovic. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Try my best. Let's see who's more. Hello, Harsh Truth Engineer. Hello, Boreas Equilon. Let's see who's more here. I think I got most of them.
Mandela
I'm gonna
Reflex.
shout out. Yeah, Mandela Reflex. I think I already said that guy, but or girl.
Oh.
If you want to say hello, just to say
You
hello.
want
and they can say
artists
hello
to say
back.
hello to you. Put your name in the chat room.
Yeah.
Hello,
Midnight
Mom.
Gardener said, hell yeah. We love you, artists. Oh, that's nice. Yay. Thank you for that.
Yay!
Yay. Hello, Marvia. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Hi, hello. Says Hesh Prediger. Prediger. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I try my best. Ice in the Moon group says Flat Earth Doom.
Yay! Mwah! Kisses and hugs back to everybody in the chat room.
Yeah.
We love
And Daniel
you.
Reed says hello as usual. Yeah. Hey,
Oh,
hello, Leslie.
Hey, there's
Beckwith.
Lev Kung Fu.
And Lev Kung Fu. Me how to you. Lev?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's not about that, is it?
Mm-hmm.
What he does.
Uh-huh. Hello, Alternates is also hello. Maybe I say some people double, but doesn't really matter.
You're allowed to, artist.
Yeah, another time you use your harmonica.
Oh yeah, another time. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
people always ask. I have to play some music.
Good.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, Flight of Dudes, Arthur's the man. But they are so nice in the chat always. Lovely people.
Yeah, we are family.
Oh yeah. Indeed we are.
Well, we haven't been going for quite as long today. We've been going for 2.5 hours, well, roughly, nearly. Do you think that's enough for today?
Oh yeah, sure. It's okay on my end if everybody else is okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
We've got James on Thursday. James is he's sort of worked out that it's not that maybe it's revolutionary on the fear thing, but he's worked out that they manufacture our fear and anxiety to make money out of us. That's what he's looking. That's what he's looking into. Has hangouts, and I think he's writing some stuff as well. And then on Friday we've got Mr. Thrive and Survive. So we're off tomorrow. And then we're back on Thursday. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. I want Robert's beach. It looked nice there, didn't it? For anybody in the UK, that's the most sun I've seen since Christmas.
Midnight Garner said, play a tune. They're asking, okay, I'm playing a very short tune.
Bravo!
Yay, artists! Yeah, thank you to everybody. We'll be back on Thursday.
Karen, please, I'd like to say something to everybody.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, have a great, great, great life. Be good to yourself. Be good to your neighborhood. And go to nature. Namaste. Thank you, Karen.
Oh, thank you, Yudit.
Great, Yudit. Great. Great words.
Boker tov.
Yeah, thank you, people. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Astral.
Yeah, thank you, Astral, Karen, and Judith.
Thank you, artists.
Give you all a clap.
Yay! And to the chat room for everybody
Yeah.
being here, and to Robert.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Indeed,
Robert.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Robert. Everybody in the chat.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Patricia.
Oh,
Keep
yes.
spreading the
Thank you.
good word, everybody. Keep spreading the good word, and yeah, be good. And we'll see you when we see you again.
Yay. Anyway, so it's good night from us, or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Anyway, bye-bye, everybody.